This is Bauer, and you are listening to Pro Wrestling for Life.
Welcome to another edition of Pro Wrestling for Life, everybody. I'm your host, two-time WWE Hall of Famer, X-Pac. I gotta say that part, like word for word, every time, right? Anyways, hey, joining me right now, my co-host, Nick Hausman. What's up, Nick?
Same old, another week in paradise, Sean. I'm very excited, man. We have another loaded show here today for everybody.
Yes. You want to tell everyone what we have?
Yeah, dude. I mean, so I went to Sean and, he put over MLW a couple weeks ago here on the show, and he was really excited about the Vice TV deal. And I said, well, Sean, I'm really good friends with the MLW PR people. Who'd you like me to get? You want me to get you Court Bauer? Do you want me to get you Fatu? And Sean said, both. So today on the show, you're not just going to hear from the owner of MLW or MLW's top star. We have both Court Bauer and Jacob Fatu in the house here today, and we got about 40 minutes with them. And dude, not just like you relating to Fatu and the Anawahi family, but like we get some real news here about what's going on with MLW Vice and their entire universe here going forward.
Yeah. It was a great conversation with those guys.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I just thought, why not have them both on?
Sure.
Yeah.
The great thing about doing the show, Sean, is you're you. So when I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, Sean Waltman wants to do something ridiculous that no other outlet, could get, they always say yes. It's wonderful.
Yeah. It's nice. It's nice to be me.
People like it. Well, also here, we're not just going to have Court and Fatu, another old friend of yours in the house here today. We're going to welcome John Arezzi to the show. He's going to be talking to you all about your debut as Syxx in WCW, that infamous night we first saw you in the front row there. And he's got a book out as well, Matt Memories. I think I have it. Oh, it's hidden behind my green screen.
Yeah, I have it over here too.
Yeah,
it's around here. I've got actually 2 copies of it. Yeah, John's a wonderful guy. He was the guy that did, first started doing pro wrestling conventions, like fan conventions. There was like an old one called WFIA, like Wrestling Fans International Association, that were kind of like even before John's, but John's is like the modern day WrestleCon, Wrestle Convention type thing. John's the godfather of that. And also the wrestling radio show, like the kind of the Breaking Kayfabe, type of radio show. He's also, depending on how you think about Vince Russo, he's to blame for Vince Russo.
Oh man, you had me right up to the end there. I was like, wow, great guy, right? Conventions, wrestling radio. Oh, okay. Well, never mind.
Yeah.
We won't get off topic here.
Yeah.
Well, very excited to welcome Court, Fatu, and John to the show. And then we're going to welcome a great fan of the show, a patron, somebody who's going to be helping us out here on Pro Wrestling for Life with graphics and video work. Ref Marsh in the house here today. He's going to be playing a game against Sean. This week I get to host the game show.
Yeah, I just decided, hey, because like originally when I was thinking of these types of things, I thought about doing it this way too, because there was this one show called Stump the Schwab or something like that. It was like a sports trivia show.
Okay.
Yeah, and the guy was it was the same contestant, and different people would come on and try to beat him, and so that was a kind of another take on this that I was thinking of too. So
rock and roll.
Yeah.
Well, great show. And just as a reminder to everybody out there, if you like the show, we're on all major podcast platforms. We're over on youtube.com/xpac. Of course, we always like nice comments and 5-star ratings on the iTunes page. But every Tuesday, a half hour before NXT, Sean and I are going to be going live to give you guys a half hour each week to ask some questions, interact with Sean, talk about the show, talk about NXT. We're going to be doing it again this Tuesday night. So go over, join us. It's a lot of fun. And again, if you want to catch this show in video form, you want to catch that live stream, go over to youtube.com/xpac, smash the subscribe button. That's what it's smash. That's how you say it when it's cool. You got to smash that subscribe button. So
Yeah.
Anyway. All right. Well, Sean, let's
smash this.
Yeah. This week in wrestling, man, news you can use, news to leave a bruise, as I like to say, man, from the world of professional wrestling. So this past week, man, an exceptionally bruising bout. I was texting you as I was watching this thing in real time. AEW presented Blood and Guts, this huge double cage, double ring War Games-esque match with the Pinnacle going over the Inner Circle. First, before I kind of get into some of the news kind of coming out of it, I know you caught this one, Sean. I mean, what did you think of this bout? What do you think when you see a blood and guts type match coming from AEW?
I thought it was really good for that type of match. You know, I thought it lived up to what it was supposed to be, like, or to like when they're hyping the match, a lot of times, things don't turn out, anything like that, like they were, like it was hyped, but this one did. I was honestly, Nick, I was surprised, like when you texted me that you were watching it, like I was like, what are you watching it on? Because I was surprised it was on TV. I thought it should have been a pay-per-view.
I agree, dude. Pay-per-view quality main event. I thought the match really delivered. There was that spot at the end where Jericho got thrown off by MJF.
Yeah.
It looked like he fell, into a crash pad. I mean, do you think that takes away from a match? What were your kind of thoughts there on the closing moments of that there?
It doesn't help.
Yeah.
It doesn't help. I just think if they would have had a different camera angle, we wouldn't even be talking about this.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the news kind of coming out of this is PWInsider.com reporting that apparently WWE officials hated this match. They didn't like it because it was super bloody, especially some of the kind of blatant blading that was going on in the ring there. And they thought it set the business back, right? By seeing this kind of brutality. I don't know if it's so much as for the safety of the performers as much as I'd like to believe that. My hunch says that they were probably more upset because it's harder to go to big money advertisers like Ford. And then they say, well, we watch wrestling, it's that bloody thing. And it kind of muddles the waters of what Vince and WWE have tried to build for the past, 20 years or so, moving away from that. When you hear that kind of report, what comes to mind, Sean?
Oh, I guess, when you first told me about the reaction from them, I was like, really? But maybe if you're just talking about how, dealing with sponsors and big, because Nick, excuse me.
It's okay.
The sponsors, there's big time corporate sponsors involved with wrestling these days, well, WWE. And so I guess I can understand why they might feel that way, because everybody, wrestling gets painted with a very broad brush, right?
Right.
But I remember back when ECW was kind of, it was hot, right? It was, we were still doing the cartoon thing, WWF.
Yeah, early 90s.
Yeah. And I remember Pat Patterson one time really shitting on the ECW thing, and just, I guess for that type of, I guess just because of the content, right? And the thing about it is we ended up doing the same shit a couple years later at the height of the peak of the industry and for the company. And we were doing it wasn't as brutal as some of the ECW, but we got a lot of stuff from ECW, I think.
And for you, do you think this match went too far? I mean, in 2021, do you think it's too bloody or too violent, or does it rub you one way or another, or no?
No. I mean, who am I to say? There's could be a market, some people like that. Maybe I don't like it anymore. Maybe I do. Well, I don't know, Nick. I just think that there's a place for a lot of things. Wrestling, there's so many different, it's just so wrestling doesn't belong to any one company.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess there was just that one spot. I mean, there was a spot at the end with Jericho where he fell, but there was also this just gnarly chair shot that Wardlow took at one point. And I know Cody's talked in the past about how AEW, they gimmick their chairs or whatever. But dude, I don't know how you blast somebody like that and make that sound and make it look that effective. I mean, it's say what you will about blading and stuff, but the chair shots to the head stuff, I feel like in some ways maybe we are kind of a little bit past that,
Yeah, we should be. Especially unprotected. Like, put your hands up at least. Yeah, we just we know enough about what happens when we get hit in the head like that. I don't know. I wish it wouldn't be done today, in 2021. Come on. There's other things we can do out there. Support for Pro Wrestling for Life is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is the world heavyweight champ of below the belt grooming for men. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped just launched their 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. You heard that right. The 4.0, everybody. Join over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the promo code PRO at manscaped.com. Nick?
Oh, yeah.
Do you shave your balls?
Of course I shave my balls.
Yeah, me too. I have for years, but I used to use the razor. I used to use the razor, and I would nick myself all the time, and I would use my clippers too.
Yeah.
But like when I would actually try to clipper my balls, I would cut my balls.
I have been there, and there's nothing worse than looking down at the bottom of the shower and seeing a little bit of blood coming out from your balls. That's really like the absolute worst.
And it's like when you nick that area down there, a lot of time it's not just a little bit of blood.
No, it's usually quite a bit of blood. So, I'm one of the first people to try the new 4.0. I'm absolutely blown away by the performance. Mine is no longer in this box, but I did keep the box for this. I mean, the craftsmanship, the details on this, I mean, it's really good. They got this upgraded trimmer that includes a multi-function on and off switch that it can engage with the travel lock. I mean, it also gives you the ability to turn the 400,000 LED spotlight on and off when you need it for more precision shaving. So let's say it's a little dark, right? And you're trying to see what's going on. Or it's just naturally dark. Can I say taint? Like near the
sure.
Okay, cool. It gets a little dark down there. So it's nice they got a little light on the end of it so you can actually see what's going down there, get the right kind of trim, which is nice.
Yeah. And this upgraded trimmer includes a multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock.
Yep, I just said that.
Did you just say that, Nick?
I did just say that.
Son of a gun.
Saying twice. And you know what? I'll say this. The Lawnmower 4.0, it even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard lengths, sizes 1 to 4. And it also has wireless charging. This new wireless charging system, it uses electromagnetic induction, which can help the battery length last longer because there is nothing you want more. There's nothing that you want less than being down there shaving your balls and for the thing to die, right?
Yeah.
This thing, you don't have to worry about that. It's going to keep going on you.
Yeah, I shave my underarms with it too. And sometimes, like if I can't make it to the barber and my shit's getting long, like on the side of my head, like I'll run it through that too. Even
yeah,
man. So I'm a big fan of Manscaped. Like before, they sponsored me before, and they sent me their stuff before, and like not just all their stuff is great. They have great underwear too, Nick.
Oh, yeah. I actually have the underwear right here. I haven't had a chance to try it on yet, but I'm very excited. These are my performance boxer briefs, and I'm also wearing my Manscaped shirt here today, which has the wonderful, delightful catchphrase, "Your balls will thank you." I'm sure that this will be a big hit at all the family functions that I go to. Who wouldn't want to wear that one around?
Check this out, Nick. Men, if you've been shaving with the same nut trimmer on your face, you've been doing it wrong. No person wants to end up with pubes in their mouth.
No. So, guys, seriously, obviously, Sean and I very much like Manscaped. We're big fans. Pro Wrestling for Life, we're huge fans. So if you want 20% off, you want free shipping, use the promo code PRO at manscaped.com. We promise you, your balls will thank you.
Oh, yeah. Once again, get 20% off and free shipping with the promo code PRO at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the promo code PRO. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Joining us right now is the owner of MLW, Court Bauer, and the World Heavyweight Champion, Jacob Fatu. I'm really excited to have you guys on, man, to talk about this Vice TV thing, man. That I was really excited to hear that, you guys. Congratulations.
Oh,
Yeah, man, we're fired up.
Yeah. Hey, Jacob. Hey, man. I used to come hang out with your family. They used to have me over to the house, man. Back when you guys were kids, and do you remember seeing me back then?
Man, I remember seeing you. Yeah, man. When they were the head shrinkers back in the day.
Yeah.
I remember you guys came to Arco Arena, man. But it was just pure love, though. Absolutely. I think you was actually in Carson one time in LA.
Oh man,
at Yoko's
yes,
house.
yes.
Yeah.
I'm embarrassed to say this. I threw up all over the floor over there, man. And they were so good about it, man. Like your family always treated me like family, man. And I'm really grateful for that. And that's one of the things that makes it so cool to have you on here today, man. I appreciate the love, man.
It's all love, man. Man, did they have you eating some turkey tails over there?
Oh yeah. Dipped in Samoan steroids, aka mayonnaise.
Yeah, more steroids, huh?
Yeah.
I had to lay back off of the Samoan steroids, though, man. It was starting to clog a lot of people's arteries around here.
You guys drunk? Yeah, what was that? What was that, Nick?
Why did you puke? I want to know why you puked on the floor. Were you sick? Was it what happened?
You could take a guess. You know, it was back in them days, and I was new to WWF, and I was living the life, man. I was in heaven, man. Just being a pro wrestler, and I was out getting messed up every night, trying to hang with guys that weighed couple 100 pounds more than me, and it caught up to me now and then. And like I said, man, your family, Jacob, has always been so good to me. I just loved all of y'all, man.
I appreciate the love, brother. It's unconditional. Thank you.
Hey, Court, man, how long has MLW been around?
We started in 2002. Originally, the first version of MLW was planned to start in '99. Gary Albright, a legendary wrestler who married Afa Enuai's daughter, was a huge mainstay in Japan, UWFI, and played for University of Nebraska and was in All Japan. And around 98, 99, the idea was, it would be nice to have a system in the States to develop talent. And so the plan was it would be Major League Wrestling. And we were going to start that thing. We were literally in Afa's living room planning this thing out in Whitehall, which is a suburb of Allentown in Pennsylvania. And then unfortunately, Gary passed away in early 2000. And so that got shelved until 2002. And the business changed. All Japan changed ownership. Everything changed very quickly. And you're talking like a 24-month period. And the whole business, by the time we launched MLW at the old ECW arena in June of 2002, it was like scorched earth. There was no WCW, no ECW.
Yes.
There was a WWE, and then TNA was about to kick off too. They literally kicked off like within 7 days of us with their first show.
And I remember also some stuff you were doing out of Florida.
Yeah, so MLW, we were all over the place. Our second show is the Manhattan Center in New York. Then we were down in Florida. We had TV and the Sunshine Network. Then we got a distribution deal with Fox, where we were all over the place. We were in Dallas. We were in Vegas. So we had a nice syndication package. And then in 2004, we hit the pause button and then came back to it actually with the podcast network in 2011 with Conan, myself, and MSL. And that thing then blew up. And Jim Cornette had a podcast. Marty and Sarah had a podcast. We had the
Pritchard show was on there, right?
Yeah. Bruce Pritchard launched, Tony Schiavone. So that was like a thing we didn't have a business plan for. We stumbled into it, and then that triggered Wale Mania. And Wale, we did that thing starting, I think, in 2014, 2015. And it was at the third one in Orlando where Wale kind of convinced me to say, do one more show. What could happen? I was like, I'll do one show. We called it One Shot. And then that took off. And within 3 or 4 weeks, I was talking to networks about doing a regular go-forward TV show on cable. And here we are 4 years later. The business, again, has radically changed. You have now 2 billionaires going at it, and I'm trying to find my way through all of this.
Yeah, and so the cool thing is like the Samoan dynasty, the Anoa'i's have been involved since the very beginning, huh?
Yeah, well, they are the ones that really allowed me into the business when you had to be, it was not easy to get into the business when I started in like the mid to late 90s. And I would just harass Samu and Afa, and finally Samu, who they were really like some of the first dudes online to have like a wrestling school website and, ways to email. And I just kept pitching. Sam was like, come on, man, like, can I get in? I don't want to be a wrestler, but I want to do something else. And finally, Sam was like, all right, come out to a show in Allentown. So you start whatever you can, putting up rings, selling tickets, making posters. And from there, I learned the ropes from Samu and Afa, and I got to spend a lot of great time with the family over the years. And just, I owe my whole career to them. I mean, I was at one point living in Afa's basement, and Yoko had just been there, and he'd spent some time there, and Afa told me the bed's a little messed up. Don't worry, son, it's going to be okay. The first night I go to get in the bed, I'm like, all right, it's a little dark. I go in and I tumble down into the middle of the bed. It broke the bed. The bed was like this instead of being flat. It was like that. And I just kind of rolled down into the valley and sleep, and then crawl back out in the morning. But just an incredibly gracious family, nothing but love, and a level of knowledge about the business that goes back decades. I mean, you talk about how the business evolved in so many positive ways. They really understood the magic of the business and how you could get to a level of intensity and understand just it's the inner workings of the business, the real magic in the DNA of what makes wrestling. And that is something that I forever cherish and privileged that they gave me that opportunity to learn it.
Yeah, and the other thing is like I've never seen a family. Well, there's probably some families out there that listen to this and might take exception, but never seen natural pro wrestlers like the NOI families. Unfreaking believable, man.
Oh, for sure. I remember seeing Lance Anui, Samu's son, at 4 years old, running the ropes, hitting sweet moonsaults before we opened doors. I'm like, man, he's better than most of the guys in the locker room. He was just smooth as silk, and he was not even in kindergarten.
So was it always a given, Fatu, that you were going to be a pro wrestler? Was that like always in the cards for you from day one?
Nah, man, it just happened to me, and thank God it happened to me. It saved my life, and man, it just kept me out the way. But I didn't really. I growing up around it, but man, I didn't really really. I knew what my dad and them did, but I didn't really start respecting it until I actually got into it. And man, that first 2 weeks, man, like that was like the toughest. And then that's when it really hit me. Like, okay, this is a lot of sacrifices, a lot of hard work. It's more than just coming up in there running the ropes and stuff. So.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like the last time I talked to you, I know we talked about the big moonsault you took off the cage, and you were the one that asked him to do that, if I'm not mistaken, when we talked.
Yeah,
it's a pretty
yeah. So Fatu had like 3 debuts in MLW. One was in 2018 when he just took out MVP. He just came in on a red eye. He took him out, and then poof, he was gone for a year. And we redid that. And then in Philly, in February of 2019, he came out. And he came out with Joseph Samael, who was then called the Sheik.
Yes.
The problem was once the network saw the footage, they're like, yeah, so BN Sports is owned by a Middle Eastern company. They find this to be super disrespectful. So I'm like, hey, Joe, you know this gimmick you've been doing, you got over for the last 10 years or so? Yeah, we got to change that shit up. And he's like, oh, my God, what am I going to do? And we're like, we'll work through this, man. We'll get this thing done. And that's how
it was fine.
Built.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah,
but it's fine. I like this version of him. Like I think he's great at that.
He's amazing, and he really is. I mean, I'm so impressed because as you get older in this business, if you don't adapt, if you don't learn to be like able to recreate yourself, you're irrelevant. You're going to have a shelf life on you. If you can adapt and evolve, and you can be a chameleon, and just whatever that promoter needs from you, you can go and exceed expectations. You're always going to find work. You're always going to find a job, and Joseph has become a real major part of MLW, both on camera and behind the scenes as well. So I give him a lot of credit. So they debuted in February. We didn't air it. So then we redid it in March in Chicago 2019. That was a live special, and we went off the air hot. It was a cage match with Tom Lawler and Low P. And I thought it'd be a great big moment for a debut for this new faction to come out. And I asked Fatu to do a big high spot off the top of the cage, which, kind of would play to the lineage and the family in the past and tip our hat, but something memorable. And you can walk us through what that experience for you going through that and your concerns going into that, because that was a wild moment.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I remember when we were setting up, man. You pulled. He was like, "Hey, let me holler at you." He was like, then they were setting up the cage, and he's like, "Hey, man, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "Man, fuck it, let's go, let's do it."
Yeah.
So I remember when Court told me, "All right, before the show, man, I need you to go up there." And you know what, brother? I'm sorry. I don't even think I told you. It was like, okay, you asked me if I could go up there to test it out, make sure it was good. I never went up there because I knew it was, I never went up. So I just knew if I go up, it's gonna be game time. So I remember for the show,
Exactly.
I walked past you. He's like, "Hey man, how was it?" I was like, "Oh man, it's good." And we just kept walking, right? And then, man, next thing you know, man, came game time, and that really, man, it's just that when I jumped off the cage, it was like, okay, anything is possible. You know, I can do anything. Anything is possible. And man, it all started at MLW, man.
Dude, and Sean, you ever jump off the cage, Sean, or no?
Up top of the cage, I got power bombed up top of the cage. It didn't end too well.
Damn.
Yeah. No, like, hey man, I'm with Jacob. I'm with you, man. Like, if I have to climb up there and test it out, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man. Hey, Jacob, man. When you're out there, when you're in front of the camera, when you're in front of the people, man, you are one vicious monster ass heel, bro. I gotta take my hat off to you, bro. You're really like authentic, believable. Like, you know, some people you don't, they go do their thing and they, and you go, oh, whatever, but you don't believe in them, man. It's not hard to believe in you.
I appreciate that. I'm just trying to knowing the legacy, like I said, when I first got in and knowing everybody who came before me, it was like, okay, how can I separate myself? I didn't want to be one of those cats that just wrote off the name. I'm thankful. I'm not saying none of my family members are. I appreciate it. But, man, I'm cut from another cloth. This was another grind. Court said, I came in 2018, got passed up. Okay, it was good. It was just a perfect fit, when I came back. Chicago, I love that building. MLW, Chicago, we were selling out, going back. They love us out there. Chicago made me, man. But, man, it was trying to set myself apart. One of the trainers is Gangrel, David Heath. And, he always told me, man, like, man, you gotta, it's time to go to work. You ain't gonna be, man, he told me to quit. David told me to quit. He was like, you better quit. You're gonna quit. You don't think you're just gonna be one of the next Samoans coming in and coming out. So, and not only that, I didn't want to be known for one of those cats. If I wanted to be remembered, I wanted to be remembered as Jacob Fatu. When you think about Jacob Fatu, you think about, okay, he's part of the family, but he's doing his own thing, so I appreciate that.
Did you feel like a certain amount of pressure, man? Just like, because I mean, your family name, man, that's a lot to live up to.
Absolutely. No, one of the main things that it was always saying, just go out there, have fun, and do you. So I was taking a little bit of everything from everybody just to throw it into my move collection. Still pay homage to my family, but still kind of switch it up and do wrestlers, like I enjoy watching, like Jeff Hardy and Tajiri. Like when I do the handstand, I actually got it from Tajiri, and
right?
I just found out like he knew how to speak English.
Oh, sure.
So, but it was pressure, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure I represented for my family, but also represent for myself as well, the right way.
Yeah. Hey, Court, like I'm talking about Jacob and what an effective heel he is, man, but like it's the creative too, man. You're booking these guys out there to actually get some heat, and nobody books that way anymore. I think, as a matter of fact, they purposely book not to get that kind of heat.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing, because when I was on the WWE creative team, we're sitting there one day, and Dusty Rhodes is we're just kind of like going through the next week of TV, and Dusty sits back and he looks at the scene and goes, "Man, we gotta get some heat next week."
Yeah.
And a writer or two looks around like, "What's heat?" And Dusty almost did a bump in his chair back, like, he just sold it, like, "Oh, are you kidding me?" And then DiBiase just gives the eyebrow up, and he's like, "For real?" The concept of heat, if you don't know what it is and how to get it, I mean, that is the bloodline of this business, is like getting heat. You got to be able to get heat. Gary Hart was one of my mentors, and really, I didn't know what I was doing when I first started MLW. It wasn't until Terry Funk introduced me to Gary Hart,
Right.
that I understood, okay, booking and how it really is critical. Matchmaking, getting heat, planting the seeds, the red herrings, and organically building this thing
Yes.
up. But you got to have guys that are also not scared of the heat. I've seen it where guys are spooked. They don't want to get that level of heat. Fatu has caused basically riots in Chicago, and he's fearless with that heat. He loves it. He thrives on it. And those are the guys that are going to make a lot of money and be successful in this business.
Yeah, I've been in Chicago when the near riots with Contra have happened. I was also in Dallas when the near riots happened with Tom Mahler. And it got hot in Chicago for sure, because like you got Joseph out there and he's like spitting at people and like throwing stuff at people and like getting very. But dude, when you go to Dallas and you like take the Texas flag and you
it was a wrap. It was a wrap. And then he slam dunked the damn thing in the garbage can, which was awesome.
Dude, well, the garbage can got in there because a fan threw a big, arena-sized, Rubbermaid trash can in the ring. Now fans, I saw a report online after, well, they had a plant do that. I was like, no, that guy was ejected. Thank God he cleared everyone ringside and got it in there. Yeah. But oh my God, that was not something. I was like, here's a prop, throw it in there. No, that was heat.
Dude, I grew up in Texas, and like that's how you get shot is you disrespect the Texas flag. So like, yeah, man, balls to the wall getting heat. And like one of the things I want to ask you while I have you here, Court, is like, you guys are obviously, like Sean said, putting out a great product. One of the things that Sean has said to me about MLW is he loves the universe, like how different you all feel from WWE and AEW and Impact, where there can be like, some crossovers sometimes. You guys have your own universe. With you guys on Vice TV now, is there a chance we're going to maybe get to see like weekly live television from MLW in the different future, or no?
We're like, so we have our Vice deal, and we're also talking with other guys and doing some interesting things. So one of the big things we want to do is more live, and you just need the right partner and what their goals are and what our goals are, that we'll see where we can go with that. Live has an electricity to it. I think live wrestling is the best wrestling, to the point where like Fatu, when he debuted in Chicago, he didn't rehearse it. He just went out there and hit that thing. And by the way, hit his time cue perfectly with no like rehearsal, walk through it. And that electricity when you're live and that energy you get, the crowd gets it. At home, you're connected to it. There's nothing like it. So like, yeah, that's one of the major things we want to do on the horizon. The new era is just do more live. It's just also, matter of what our partner wants and how they want it, how often they want it. You want to be a good partner, but yeah, I think every pro, if you're going to talk to them about a deal, is going to say, yeah, baby, let's do live. Live is fun, man. There's a sense of energy. There's no do-overs. If you do that thing live, you meant to do it, even if you fell and slipped and wiped out, as Vince would say. You meant to do it.
Whew. Boy, that live TV though, man. Court, like how I don't got to tell you, man. And I mean, the cost of doing live, is that going to be an issue?
That's really kind of often, it should be the responsibility of the partner. They typically will take care of those production fees. So, if you're going up on a satellite uplink, they're absorbing that cost. We have a TV truck and those kind of things. So it's that's kind of built into doing the deal.
Yeah. Hey, man, while we're talking about that, I'm a fan of your announce team, man. You have a really good announce team, I think.
Yeah. We're it's important that, Ray Flores, who did the Triller fight recently, I first worked with him at UFC Fight Pass. I was a co-exec producer for Combate Americas. Ray Flores, I was a ring announcer there. And I said, let's put him in the booth. Let's give him a shot. He was from ESPN Radio in Chicago, and he killed it doing MMA, and now he's doing boxing. He was the host of the Mayweather-McGregor fights when they barnstormed around the globe. And he's built his profile up doing PBC boxing, and I love that he calls it like a fight. And St. Laurent, who is my right-hand man, knows exactly what's in my mind, convey the storylines in a meaningful way, and also kind of tilt a little heel, but not go over the top, more modern. So I love it. It allows me to I don't produce them really at all. They have a talent book. They have their background. They know the context of what they got to accomplish there, and they kill it. I mean, those guys were one-take Jakes. We do not do do-overs with this team, which is a huge thing when you're doing production. Is just to be able to go out there and kill it.
So you're not in the headphones yelling at them like Vince is during Raw and SmackDown. I don't know how the hell they do it.
I'll tell you, it's like you definitely when you're doing live TV, there's times over the last few years when we've done live specials or pay-per-view, and you're like, you kind of sometimes the announcing will kind of drift into a different direction. You have to bring them back on. But I try, to let the guys do what they need to do. I'll sometimes remind them of something. Sometimes I'll, be like, damn, why the hell are you burying the guy out there? Don't bury him. That's the only time I'll get like, if I do get upset, I'll be like that. You don't want to bury an angle, or you don't want to bury a talent inadvertently. I don't think anyone ever has the intention to do it by design. But to the viewer at home, it's still, it's a sin. So you have to be careful. But, we've been blessed with over the years with a great team. Guys like Rich Bocchini, the original MLW, voice of MLW was Joey Styles way back when. So Tony Schiavone, Jim Cornette, all those guys. Man, I've been blessed with great guys, so it makes my job easier. So what am I gonna tell them?
Well, and I'll say this about Ray Flores. I've known Ray for over a decade now. He and I used to be managers out here in Chicago, and you mentioned all the stuff that he's done in like boxing and MMA, but like at the root of it, before he was like a big name, like he's always loved pro wrestling. Like I know how much it means to Ray to be in that seat, and I know that he's told me that you said to him that experience he spent on the Indies really helped him be able to call the matches on top of the skills he has as like a legitimate MMA boxing commentator as well. So
it gives you a baseline of knowledge and instincts and understanding of the business and appreciation for it, the psychology of it. I think just like Jim Ross started out doing refereeing, to be in the middle of that gives you context that if you don't have that, you're just going to have less tools in your arsenal to understand and relate to what's going on. You're the soundtrack to the product. You're enhancing it for the viewer. You're getting the guys over. You're framing storylines. You're packaging the product and saying, this is MLW because of what Fatu just did in there. Yeah. That's so important. You got to be, and JR was great with the one-line descriptors. And there's so many things that JR contributed to the business. Those kind of things are kind of a lost art. Not enough guys pick those people's brains, and they're welcome to it. They want it, but the young guys have to go out there and seek that knowledge. I know it's like off first, but man, you're investing in yourself. You're enriching your own career by doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Court. Nick was just mentioning how I'm a fan of the fact that there's no brand confusion between you and Impact, AEW, and everybody else. Man, your roster, man, you got some really solid guys at the top of your roster, man. Obviously, Jacob, you got Hammerstone, the Von Erichs. I mean, these are like you can really build a hell of a promotion around these guys, which obviously you're doing.
Yeah, we found some great guys. And, the weird thing is people say, oh, my God, how'd that guy not go to WWE or sign with AEW? It's like, well, guess what? They were free agents. Those companies existed. And some of those guys got looks. And WWE or other companies just slept on them. They didn't pull the trigger. Yep. They came in our system and they thrive. They do exceptionally well. And that's why guys like Fatu and Hammerstone have re-upped with us in the last year. It's because this is they're finding their success. This system, they're authentically who they want to be, and they can do what they want to do, and it's fulfilling. To be passed over, it's like, all right, man, why am I going to give them another go at it? Do they really buy into me? Are they going to really see this through, or do they just want me because I'm now this hot thing, and they just want what they can't have, or it's a pretty new object? Man, no, these guys get it. They see the system, they see it works, and I think part of that too is like, these guys have really good dancing partners. They all are different. Tom Lawler from the UFC, 10-year veteran from the UFC, totally different than Fatu. And guys like Akira Kwan, who's going to be, I think, a big star, is totally different than Myron Reed, our world middleweight champion. Yeah. And so, everyone has a distinct kind of vibe and in-ring style. But the one thing I tell them is, guys, just make sure you lay your shit in. I really try to encourage guys to avoid the prefab matches. Do something different, man. If they're predicting what you're going to do, you're not maximizing your potential. Because if you can have a match that just feels like you're freestyling out there and you're feeding off the crowd, And if you watch like the Von Erichs, they do that traditional old like Austin style Southern brawl. It ain't pretty, but man, it feels real. It feels good. And
that was world class style. That was world class style when you watch it, man. You had to fight for what you could get.
Yeah, and that's what all the heels realize. I'm sure Fatu too. It's like if you're gonna get heat on those boys, you're gonna have to lay it in because they're gonna come back on you, and that makes it bigger. That makes it like a real struggle.
Hey, Jacob, can I ask you something, man? Well, apparently I can because you decided to come on the show.
Come on.
No, hey man, do you feel like competition nipping at your heels, trying to get your spot around there?
It's been like that since day one with MLW. You know what I'm saying? As soon as we walked in the locker room, we was in Philly, and right out the gate, nobody knew we was coming. So when I believe me, Mance Warner, Hammerstone, and Joseph Samael, I think we all debuted that same night in Philly. So I think me and Oos got to the building a little late. We seen Hammer over there. We seen Oos, and it was kind of like all eyes on us. But it was like, okay, now what are we gonna do now? So
right.
But it's like that everywhere. I mean, you got a great young cat like Calvin Tankman that's coming up, made his way. He's doing his thing. Myron Reed, Jordan Oliver. I mean, even though we at the same size, but we're all gritting, we're all grinding. We not comfortable where we at. Because once you get comfortable, man, you're gonna end up losing everything. But I think we be having friendly competitions on the low though at the live shows, not even telling each other. But absolutely. But I've been feeling like that, man, since we touched down in Philly.
Yeah. Hey, Court, can you speak to that? Like, I mean, what is your read on your roster and people coming up to you like trying to lobby for do their politicking, trying to get a better spot?
Well, it's funny, when someone's super over when everyone's like, no, I want to get a match with him. Can I get a match with him?
Yeah.
Like Fatu, I get hit with texts all the time. Can I get a match with Fatu, man? I'm like, look, if it makes sense where I'm going with the booking, sure. But, I'm not going to throw out a match, because this ain't no charity. And guys earn that, it's not like I hate that you deserve it bullshit. You hear,
right?
Guys, these guys got to step up and they got to earn that. And if they earn it, you're not saying that, you're not chanting that. You're booing or you're popping for what they're doing out there. The cheerleading shit you never really see in MLW because our guys get heat, and when our baby faces win, it's a euphoric pop. And I think. Are you talking
about, Court? Are you talking about when people try to get the people? Chief J Strongbow. One time I was doing that out in the ring. I came back and Strongbow looked at me and he used to call me Trailer. He said, "Trailer, why don't you just bring some fucking pom poms to the ring with you?"
Yeah, and the big pet peeve I have also is like managers that just slap the mat. I'm like, really? Come on, man. Like, what is that?
Yeah, just distracting.
Yeah. I mean, you can work the crowd and get them into it. And there's so many ways. I mean, a manager has so many tricks that they can pull to get the crowd to come in on the match. But when I hear the slap of the mat, I'm like, dude, you're lost. That's the first time you don't know what you're doing as a manager.
Hey, Court. You have two shows right now, right? You have the Vice show and the BN Sport. Is it BN Sports? Is the BN Sports show the same one as you show on YouTube?
Yes, that's on DAZN, Fubo Sports, BN.
Yeah. How is that like trying to make each show have its own kind of feel, and you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting because with the new project Azteca Underground, it's like. It's a pretty fun project, but it's also going to be easy for us to make something feel distinctly different from Fusion.
Okay, wait, time out.
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Time out. So, I don't know if you may have just slyly made a little news report. So I was wondering if Azteca Underground was going to be like a faction in MLW, but I also got the vibe that maybe this was going to be like a second show that was in the lane of Lucha Underground. So are you saying that the intent here is to launch a second MLW show that is Azteca Underground with Dario Cueto and the other characters, Mil Muertes, all of those from that world?
All I can say is we may or may have not received at least 2 bids for a second series that may or may not involve Azteca Underground.
Okay, cool. Well, that's great news, Court. I mean, look, you guys really created a lot of buzz when you brought in Dario Cueto on the season finale. It was a nice little kind of Marvel, into the credits moment there, and it kind of just it popped everybody that right way. So I'm really excited to hear that. That was one of the big things I wanted to know from you is what is up with Azteca. So that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's that storyline started last June, and we slowly started planting seeds. Conan started to hint at things, and then the story really kicked in high gear in January. And we knew what the payoff was, and we just were waiting. And if they don't deliver on him, if LF is someone else, that's going to be weak. And I also was promoting around that we just signed a deal. And I was like, oh, he's just going to give us some lame shit. And like, nah, man, we delivered on both.
Yeah, I'm very impressed. I thought it was cool, Court. I mean, you guys are really just rocking and rolling on all gears right now. And so the other thing I want to know, just kind of newsy-wise, and Sean, you can take us home with whatever you want to talk about. But like with Dark Side of the Ring, the relationship there, are you going to be leading into them? They leading into you? Because I think with the right kind of synergy there, with as many people are watching, you guys could very quickly jump to, number 3 in the overall viewership each week of companies that are watched in North America.
Evan and Jason have been incredible to talk with, and we're spitballing on some cool stuff and how we can work together. I mean, people are like, oh, they're going to do Dark Side of MLW. No. If you look at how they run their show, how they've built this incredibly successful series, there's a lot of interesting stuff. They're great creative minds in terms of how you produce TV, tell stories, the element of documents or documentaries in it. So I think they spoke about this recently publicly. So there's a lot of interesting stuff, and we see a lot of connective tissue there. So it's got endless potential. Vice gets that, and they've had their most success with wrestling. And wrestling's been at the vanguard of TV since the 50s with Gorgeous George, and then with broadcast, and then with syndication, and then with closed circuit, and then pay-per-view, and now streaming. So they get it. They get that advice. And so that's good, So we'll see where Jason and Evan and MLW can kind of collaborate and see where it goes. But we're talking. If you could see the other side of this office, you'll see a whiteboard with a bunch of ideas, but I can't show them right now.
Well, I think I was the one they were talking to because I was picking their brain about this. And I was like,
there you go.
I was like, you tell me what you've been talking to Court Bauer about. And they gave me a great response about how they want to take that cinematic feel and bring it into a wrestling ring. So anyway, I won't go off on a tangent about another conversation. But
Hey,
sounds like a lot of really cool stuff.
Court, hey, so the other day I was reading that MLW might enter like a working relationship with WWE. Anything you can elaborate on with that?
Yes.
No, I can't really say anything about that. We've always looked at, different opportunities, and, we work with AAA. We've done some stuff with New Japan. Tom Lawler was just over at New Japan Strong. We've done stuff with Noah. We have a relationship starting with Rev Pro out of the UK. So, we're always open to looking at things, but the key there really is it's like, I don't care about the cloud or the flowers or doing something like that,
right.
Headlines, whatever. It's not a short-term transactional thing. Oh, great, we got to pop in the viewers, or we can do a crossover match and everyone will talk about it and it will trend on Twitter. It's like, to me, it has to be a long-term vision. If a long-term vision makes sense, cool. But it's like, I don't kiss rings. I don't need that bullshit. Been there, done that. What makes sense to me is like, how do our fans benefit? How does our talent benefit? How does the company as a whole benefit? Is there something that can mesh and build out something that's mutually that works for them, works for us? So you're not just sitting there kind of thinking, how are they going to screw you? But instead saying, how do we enrich this? How does this work? How can we take it to the next level? Is there something there? Is there business there? And also it's like this, I have this complex thing where it's like, we're launching on new networks and stuff. And it's like, do you really want the premiere to be like, hey, it's MLW plus this other thing? And it's like, you're trying to get your talent over, your talent work to build this promotion to this point. And now they're having to share that stage with someone else and their needs and their things. It's confusing to the fan. Our partner's like, we signed on to do this thing with MLW. Now you got this other company. What's that about? So it's a little confusing, can muddy the waters. And then you got the pandemic. It's like, okay, you got to do all these dream matches with no crowd. Where's the money in that? It's like, that to me is like kind of like just cheap stunt promoting. I'd rather wait and hold those cards until you can pull the trigger on something. So we always evaluate things. We always look at things. We're always interested in that. And I think the fans love that stuff. If it works out, it's just got to be big picture, long term. How's that all sync up?
Yeah. No, I was just gonna say that all sounds good to me. I mean, I want to see a cavalcade. I want to see Von Erichs. I want to see Hammerstone. I want to see Fatu ringside NXT. I want to see Fatu on SmackDown kicking Roman in the balls and asserting himself at the table. Like, I want to see all of those things. So anyway, I'm just putting it out there.
Hey, so are you guys working towards a Hammerstone versus Fatu match sometime in the future?
Yeah, I don't know, big man. How about it?
All right, big dog. He wouldn't be the first person trying to step up. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
we got a lot of big things coming, man. July 10th, there's a lot of good things coming. We're back in Philly. Philly, Chicago been very good to me, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what we got going on. One thing I do need a shout out to is Alex Greenfield. You know, I just need to put that out there. That's my dog, man. I wasn't comfortable with talking, and once I start working with him, man, he's just so intense inside the promo room. But you know, I want to give him a shout out, man. Yeah, because he really helped me out a lot back there. But not only that, just the camera guys back there. Shout out to Charlie. The catch that set up the ring, just everything at MLW, man, what we got going on. MSL, it's nothing but love over there, man. And man, this is I can't wait. We got
Well, we just lost Fatu's audio. Fatu, we lost you. Your audio broke out.
We back. Okay.
You're back. You're good. You there, brother? Oh, we lost you again. Oh, we lost you. We had you, and then we lost you. I mean, we see you, but we can't hear you. Trying.
It was a strong go home. I'm just saying that. That was a good go home for him.
Good.
Yeah, it was.
We were wrapping up really nicely in there. But two, did we lose your audio? I don't know if we're gonna get you back. I don't know if your microphone setting is all jacked up or something like that.
Hey, Court.
You know, yeah.
Hey, hey, man, I was going to ask you to put Jacob over and talk about, choosing him as, as the head, of your roster.
You know, with Fatu, he's so special. You know, he has the legit, like, when you see him and those eyes light up, it's like, man, you don't want to be too close to him. He might get you.
Yeah.
He bell to bell, he can go. He has off the charts charisma. He has an intensity that's off the charts. And for me, a guy like that, you put him against anyone. You got endless amount of matches you can do, and he's always going to grab the energy in the room, and just always you can finish a show with him on top, and you're getting your money's worth as a fan. But also for Contra to have this kingpin like this, I wanted to do something big like that. And for him to be the crown jewel, it just made all the sense in the world. I mean, he just checks off every box. He had a great match with LA Park, the original La Parka.
Yeah, man.
Dude, they had a wild brawl. One of my favorite matches of all time. And I mean, he can adapt to any style, any match, and he can go live. He can go. There's the poster. He just showed it. That was our first pay-per-view. There's a reason I put those two in the match. Park was with us since the first show. I go back 20 years with him now. And he was just a perfect opponent. Like, just two great brawlers just going at it. And guy like Fatu is also a leader. And you want a guy on top that can lead in the locker room and out in the ring. And that counts for a lot, and can go and always over delivers. I mean, I couldn't put the company in better hands than with a Fatu.
Yeah, because I mean, all those things, all those qualities you're talking about, but there's got to be that level of trust and just that, being reliable and, always being able to count on this guy, there's so many other things that, besides what you see on TV, man.
Oh, for sure. And it's, I think a lot of people see in Jacob, they see a lot of his uncle, Eki Fatu, who was so special in my career too, because he was in the original MLW. And when I was at WWE, we brought him back at the time. He was supposed to do 3-minute warning. And he'd done it before. This was like the second run. And so Maddie, Rosie, superhero training for a lot of people, he kept saying, let's give him a shot. Let's bring him back. And I was sitting there in Gorilla with Vince, and he gets to do a dark match, a tag match with Maddie. Yeah. And he just connected with the crowd, and the crowd went bananas for just a dark match. And Vince, with the reading glass at the end of his nose, looks and says, we're going to sign him, but it's not going to be a tag team. he's going to get a top push. And I went, oh, poor Matty. We bring him back and he says he's going to go get a top. But then, fast forward, and Vince, I got the opportunity. I was assigned to say, okay, we're going to take Jamal at the time. That was Ecky's gimmick, his name back then. And we're going to repackage him, but we want to give him something different, distinct. And I was told on the flight out to Chicago for WrestleMania 22, by the time we touch down, we go to meet with Vince and talk about the flip side of Mania. We're in the basement of this hotel at Rosemont Horizon. Like, we're going to go over like 6 months of booking. You better have an idea. So I'm calling him at the airport saying, yo, good news, man. You're starting fast. The other thing is we got to come up with a new gimmick, new everything. You got to be ready to start like in a week or two. And so like over 48 hours, Ecky and I came up with what would be Umaga. And it was great because we didn't want to be just a throwback. We wanted it to be kind of a hat tip to what his family had brought to the business, but be modern. So he got that grill in his mouth. I tried to convince him to get like a temporary tattoo on his face of the tribal shit.
Yeah.
He goes, yo, Oos, you do that first, and then I'll do it right after you. I said, all right. What about if we paint it on? He goes, I don't know how to paint that shit on my face. Well, in time, he learned how to do it with makeup girls. But he hit the ground running and was just such a sensational hit for WWE for WrestleMania 23 with Bobby Lashley and the whole thing with Vince and Trump. Just had an incredible run. And, I see so much of that in Jacob, and I see so much different in Jacob too. So it's a real privilege to get to work with two, in my opinion, Hall of Fame caliber guys.
Yeah.
Well, I want to, we want to thank you guys so much for coming on. I know we took you over a little over time than we expected. And it was so crazy to me when I said to Sean, hey, Sean, do you want quarter for two? And he goes, both. I was like, oh, all right, well, you're you, so I guess we can pull that off. So anyway, I think it's amazing you guys took the time to talk with us today. I don't know if Fatu's audio, can you hear us, Fatu? I don't know if we got the audio thing fixed. He's still dead. All right, so Court, I'm going to let you. Yeah, he's with us in spirit, but we can't hear you right now. Sorry, Fatu. So, Court, we'll let you take us home here right now. What do you want to let everybody know out there about MLW and where they can find it, follow, support all those great things?
Absolutely. Every Saturday at noon on Vice. The old 80s tradition is back. Wrestling on Saturdays at noon. Check us out. We're on Vice. We're also going to be on BN Sports. You can check us out on DAZN anytime, anywhere. That's the Netflix of sports. You can check us out on Fubo Sports Network as well. MLW.com. You can learn a lot about the new era kicking off July 10th with our new season in the Philadelphia area at the 2300 Arena. We're having rolling sellouts. We sold out because of capacity limits. We're now able to put more tickets on sale. So there's gonna be a limited amount of tickets left, and you want to go get those tickets at MLW2300.com. And then we'll be in Dallas September 11th for a big show. The Von Erichs are rolling up there. And Chicago, November 6th, we're going to be dropping a lot more dates in the days, weeks, and months ahead. And, of course, Alicia Toot will be kicking off the open draft. There'll be some new faces coming to MLW. Tune in this week to our YouTube channel to learn all about that. Some new dudes we've signed to learn all about that and more, I think, this Thursday. MLW on YouTube is at youtube.com/Major League Wrestling. The world of MLW never stops. It's just getting bigger in 2021 and beyond.
This is the segment a lot of y'all been waiting for. This segment, like in the polls, gets like almost as much or just as much traction as the interviews I do with all the famous guests I have.
And you've had some famous ones.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So anyways, this is the segment where a wrestling journalist / media personality comes on and ask me some questions about, a moment, a particular match, or, things like that. You all know what the segment's about already. Hey, he's the host of Pro Wrestling Spotlight Then and Now. He's the innovator of wrestling conventions and all that, and just a wonderful guy that I'm really happy to be able to call a friend. John Arezzi, everyone. Thank you, John.
Hey, it's my pleasure to be here. I love the new podcast. I love the format. I love the guest, everything that you've done with it. It's just been one of those weekly must listens to for me. I mean, and I'm honored to be on here as probably the oldest journalist that you'll ever have on here.
Maybe not. No, because there's a few coming up that
are there.
got a decade or two on you, I bet.
Cool. Yeah, I started when I was 14 back in 72. So long time. But
hey, before we get going, like, hey, so you're talk about your archives and the show and everything real quick.
Well, it's been, I was gone from the business from 96 to 96 to 2018. I was gone for a long time. And over the last few years, I started the podcast, Pro Wrestling Spotlight, then and now with Brian Last.
Yep.
And what we do is we go back 30 years to listen to the Pro Wrestling Spotlight original shows that I was on the air with from 89 to 96. And we listen to them in chronological order. So we go back and review the history of what was going on years ago and behind the scenes talk. We listen along. So it's been really fun. And then I got a book deal with PW Press because I've been in the country music business for 20 years as well. Matt Memories is out now, and it's doing really well. I mean, and for somebody who really never had a lot of national TV exposure, for this book to be in the top 10 at Amazon, right under
that's impressive,
Drew McIntyre's, I mean, it really has overwhelmed me, and the expectations have been far exceeded. So
I'm just
we'll
glad
it leads.
John, I'm just glad. And I think I might have been one of the first people that, like, I saw you pop back up into the scene. And I'm like, oh my God, I haven't seen you in years. And you were so good to me the short time we were around each other. And so I was so happy, man, to have you back on the scene and to come and take, cash in on the latest wrestling boom.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more of a historian now than even a journalist. I mean, I used to cover some hard-hitting stuff back in the day, a shoot style. I mean, one of the first people ever to do that.
Yep.
But to come back as a historian and now start to share archives with people, and I have all those old films that I shot at the Garden when I was a kid. Andre the Giant's first match at Madison Square Garden, and I was a ringside photographer for many years.
Also, you had a few matches. Don't leave that out.
2. Dusty Rhodes kicked my ass, and I worked against Peter Maivia and Chief Jay Strongbow in a tag team match, and that was it for me. And I really did it just to see what it would be like. And I didn't have any training, so I could have gotten hurt, and which I did, but I could have hurt others. I mean, I should have never did it, but I did it, and I wrote a story about it in Ring Magazine in 1979, and that's what it is. But right now I'm sharing the history of what I have been involved with over the years, and to reacquaint myself with people like yourself and all the others that remember me, Conan, and, because I did deals with them, bring AAA to the United States in 93. I mean, it's been a really great ride, and I was so happy to be able to, when you asked to bring me on here to talk about what really to me was very fascinating was NWO. I mean, that was groundbreaking in so many ways, and it just led to the escalation of popularity in wrestling with the Monday Night Wars, and for you, I mean, you really. When you were associated with the Click and they had their last match, the curtain call at the Garden. I mean, there was so much going on in your life before Hall and Nash departed for WCW. Right. That was like the tail end, and you were just getting out, and you had some problems, and you were getting yourself fixed, and all of a sudden there's the you tape your last matches for WWF on April 29th, I think, in 96. Against Mark Mero, Sergio Vega. And the last match aired, I believe it was on May 20th, and that was the day after the Click curtain call happened at the Garden.
Yeah.
So that was
I wasn't there.
And you weren't there. You were somewhere else. You were in rehab,
You can say it.
You were in rehab, and then they leave. And then Hall debuts May 27th in WCW, and then Nash joins them as the Outsiders and Dash at the Beach. That's where it starts. Hogan turns heel.
Yeah.
Now, what were you doing during this time when you saw this all coming together? Were you removed from these guys, or were you still in touch with everybody?
Well, interesting. So I'm glad you picked this because there's a bit of a story to it. And, even before I show up and do the thing where, I got that little remote thing and all the
in September. That happened in September, right?
Yeah, but it's the story leading up to that. It's interesting because as we just mentioned during the curtain call, I was in rehab, so I missed out on that. Maybe thankfully so. With, considering what happened with Hunter.
A lot went down.
Yeah. So anyways, originally, like the plan was going to be, I would have been the first guy to sign, or we would all, the three of us would have signed together.
Wow.
And I probably would have came out because,
Yeah, there was him,
yeah. And so on all the WWF contracts at the time, and I'm pretty sure they still have this, if you don't give notice within 90 days of your contract expiring, it rolls over.
Oh,
so I had the meeting with Barry Bloom in LA, and what he's told me about Eric, Bischoff, having the blank checkbook basically, and
so spending a lot of money.
Yeah, so I got on the phone with Scott Hall from Barry Bloom's office and started the whole thing rolling.
No kidding.
Yeah, and so our plan between us would have been me first, Scott, and then Kev, but it just didn't work out because I didn't give my notice, and so I was screwed, and so I was stuck there, and they were punishing me. They could say they weren't, but I was in the doghouse big time. Trust me, and I was miserable. So like we got back from this long tour of Europe, and it was the last tour for Kevin and Scott. We had a hell of a time. I didn't sleep for many days in a row, many days in a row. And I got back, and we went to TVs, and I OD'd at TV on pills.
Oh shoot!
And but I used to pop into the production meetings occasionally, and I just so happened to OD in the production meeting.
Wow.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I'm sure that didn't go over.
That's why I ended up in rehab, and that's why I missed the curtain call.
Now, did they release you? Is that what happened? How did that go down?
So this is what happened. Vince put me through rehab, and he paid me great. I got paid more while I was in rehab than I did if I would have been just working, the towns. Yeah. I mean, I got full pay for. I'm assuming it was full pay for like a Kuwait tour or something. It was either Kuwait or South Africa. Anyways, so I finished rehab, and Vince was real supportive the whole time. And he brings me in. He flies me in to have a meeting with me to talk about my future. And, we did the whole thing. I show up, and I sat out in the lobby for hours. I mean, hours. Finally got in there, and Vince is like, hey, I know you're clean or whatever, something, but if you think you can get a better deal for you and your family by working for that billionaire asshole, those were his exact words, I'll give you a week to think about it and let me know.
Wow.
Yeah. So I knew that's what I had to do, but man, that was one hard week. Because it was so, because like I felt like that was my family. I felt like my life was so intertwined with WWE, man.
And they gave you your first break, man. They really pushed you. I mean, that 1, 2, 3 kid deal was just like,
Yeah, but it was time to go.
Family for you, yeah.
Yeah, but it was time to go. So I called JJ and I told him, and then it took a while for me to get the release. And then once I got the release, WCW wasn't happy. They weren't happy with the wording of it. They were worried that it was opening them up to get sued. WCW brought me into Sturgis for the night that I think Hogan and Giant worked.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of touch and go. Like I might have debuted then. But they got the release and they didn't like the wording. And so anyways, eventually we got it right. And that's when I show up.
And you show up, I think it was September the 16th or so of that year, 96. And you're sitting in the front row.
Yeah.
And so that was like, holy smokes, look who's here, And
yeah.
You push the remote and all the flyers come down from the ceiling and you're in.
Yeah. So I remember I had this, I remember I got a perm because I was trying to grow my mullet out. So I had this big perm. and I was wearing a Doors shirt. It said "Break On Through," and it had Jim Morrison doing like this. But yeah, it was great. The fact that I was going to be part of the NWO, like honestly, I just felt like that. Me sitting in the front row there had that little, 30 seconds with Mike Tenay.
Yeah.
And I stood up on the thing. Like honestly, I didn't think much thought was put into that. I was grateful.
Yeah.
I was really grateful it was just something to get me in the NWO.
Yeah. Looking back, you think it could have been done a little better.
Well, I just think they had a lot going on. And
yeah. Well, there was. I mean, it was like incredible. I mean, once the invasion took place, so to speak, once the outsiders came in and Hogan turned, I mean, it was like heat that I hadn't seen in wrestling in a really long time, with people throwing shit into the ring and then you show up and everybody knew of your association with those guys, so it was a great integration. Yeah.
So, and I think it was Kevin Sullivan's idea, and Kevin's in my book, and Kevin Scott, our book. He's a genius.
He is a genius. Concerned. Always has been.
Yeah. It's just that one didn't quite work. Yeah. I mean, it worked, but it wasn't like a big home run or anything.
Yeah, I got you there.
Because I think the vision, in their minds, I think they felt like it was going to, the Flyers were going to come down faster or whatever. But anyways, it didn't. But I was in.
Yeah. And the name changed too.
Yes.
I mean, you had to change the name. And then there was a couple of stories about the origins of Syxx. Was it the adding up of 1, 2, 3, or was it because you were the sixth member after the NWO Sting? What was the real story there? I mean, about the name.
I don't think I ever asked Eric. Mm-hmm. It was Eric's decision, and he liked it, and so I was all in with it. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
There you go.
It seemed kind of weird, but like I said, it sounded good to me.
And it was good. And it was a good payday.
Yeah. Oh, it was really good.
Yeah.
Like for me, I went. See, I think they assumed I was making more at WWF than I was. I was like, I might have been in the clique or whatever, and had that privilege that went along with it, as far as showing up later, maybe having a little bit more leeway on things, and But I was still getting
the money was still the
bottom pay.
Yeah. And of course you go over there and you see everyone living large.
Yeah. And so I think I would have gotten more had I not, made a stop in rehab before I got there. I think I would have gotten more, but I still it was good pay for it was $250,000 a year.
That was big money.
Yeah, the only problem was there was no cap on the number of dates they could work me. So they could keep me on the road 25, 30 days a month if they wanted to, technically.
Yeah.
And it got to that point at one time. But anyways.
So it got a little overwhelming on the schedule wise. Yeah. Even though a lot of guys were working less, I mean, you're working maybe more.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
You're doing a lot of the house shows, house shots. And they threw you right in. I mean, with a major angle with Eddie Guerrero, right away. And then you were able to get the U.S. title, I think, from Eddie.
Yep. Yeah. And, I just talked about this with Sam Roberts, talked about the ladder match that culminated in. And,
awesome.
All the lead up to that. Yeah. And I loved working with Eddie, and Eddie and I had worked in New Japan. We had a really a standout match from that tournament, from the New Japan Super Junior tournament in '93. So
overall, it was a good run. That first when you got there it was great. You had Eddie Guerrero, and then
I worked with.
You had so much going on, man.
Yeah, I worked with Dean Malenko, my teacher, and we had some pretty good stuff there. Because I do we had started doing that where we started, kind of shooting on our promos, right? We would do our in rings, and anytime we got on the mic, we would, it was kind of controversial at the time. I guess.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because it wasn't really done. On national TV.
Yeah, but for me, it was just an opportunity for us to do the Wolfpack thing.
Yeah.
For me, that was huge for me.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, there was so
Yeah.
much going on, and then there were more members, and then the factions were splitting up, and it was just a whirlwind of stuff. And then, of course, then you have the famous run with Flair, which was amazing. I mean, and the audiences were growing, and then the war is really on, and everyone's outdoing each other week to week. How was the heat of the crowd? I mean, because you were coming from WWF. I mean, things were not. They didn't. Attitude Era hadn't kicked in yet. Really, it was just starting. But you must have go to WCW, and all of a sudden you're seeing these enormous crowd. You're seeing on the TV, and you're seeing this this heat from the fans that maybe had not been there in that organization for a long time.
That and what really stood out to me, John, was just when I would be in public, like going through the airport or things like that, where so many more people came up to me and recognized me, and it was so much bigger, man. Like, because like just being the WWF 1, 2, 3 kid stuff, that was huge for me.
Oh, absolutely.
And then some places around the world, we were like, business wasn't bad in Europe. Like, we were huge stars over there, but it was just, man, when I got to WCW and got that NWO TV time, man, that was huge.
Yeah. Do you think that NWO and then the factions that spun off from it, and there's so much of integration and everyone is coming and going, do you think it grew too fast, too quickly maybe, and it just kind of exploded into just like you didn't know what was going to happen, and there was just too many twists and turns and people turning on each other and jumping from to the Wolfpack and then the NWA Red. I mean, it was just so much going on for someone who had just left the business. Once it started doing all of that, it became a little frustrating for me as a viewer because it was such a great concept in the beginning, but then I think it just got out of control.
It did. Well, I was gone when they started doing that separate, like, red and black Wolfpack, which was really cool. It just, it wasn't the Scott, Kevin, I trio Wolfpack. There were kind of two different things.
Right.
I was gone by then.
Yeah, because it was like
I got fired.
It was kind of like it was only your involvement there, really lasted just a year. And then you had the injury, and then you get the FedEx envelope from Mr. Bischoff, and that was the end of that. So, man.
Yeah. But so, anyways, I had this T-shirt, my own NWO shirt with the Syxx ball on the back.
Yeah.
And it was like the best. It was a top seller for a while. I got a hell of a royalty check for that. But while I was out with the neck injury, I broke my neck working a house show with Lex.
Yeah.
And so when I finally had enough, like, I tried to work through it, John, and because I was trying to get a raise.
But you still not working, but you were doing some TV still, right?
No, I still had, like, I dropped the tag titles with Scott versus this. We dropped into the Steiners.
Okay. Yes.
We did Wolfpack
October.
We did Wolfpack rules, which was we like Freebird rules where I could defend the titles too. So Scott and I dropped him to the Steiner brothers while I had a broken neck. And I took a DDT off the top rope with a broken neck.
Man,
so
crazy.
Yeah. But while I was out, Scott, whenever they would do those big in-ring NWO segments, Scott would make everyone wear the Syxx ball shirt.
There you
and
go.
Every single week they would shout me out, and everybody would shout me out. Dusty, Macho Man, like all those guys.
Wow.
And so Scott kept me over. Like, those guys kept me over. Like, I got more over sitting at home with a broken neck than, I think while I was working.
Yeah, I mean, and you're saying when you were let go, when Bischoff sent you that letter, I mean, that was kind of sending a message to Hall and Nash. You think was that, because that's what's been reported previously. It was kind of like, if they let you go, then then anyone can be expendable at any given time.
It was more like
was that true, or how accurate is that from what I've read and what I've seen?
I think it's pretty accurate. Eric says otherwise, and there was a couple other mitigating factors.
Yeah.
that added to it. Like I still hadn't signed my contract officially. Like after all that time, I was still working on a deal memo.
No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah. A deal memo was sufficient, but they wanted me to sign the real thing.
Yeah. So that was over the course of a year. You didn't sign
because I was trying
just a deal memo.
Because once I got in and once I started doing well and was involved in all that big stuff with Flair and all that stuff, like I wanted a raise because I knew like they were Kevin and Scott had renegotiated a few times, and I wasn't trying to rape the company, but
but there was a lot of money being made too. I mean, there was money being made. The pay-per-views were doing well. I mean, it was an explosion in wrestling that we hadn't seen ever, as far as to that extent.
Yeah.
So I mean, wrestling organizations have never really been mindful of sharing the wealth.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to put it. Anyway.
Yeah.
But then you leave and you go back to home, so to speak, which was WWF, and what an incredible run with DX. And then all of a sudden, WCW goes under. And then, a few years later, NWO returned.
I got another NWO run. That's why,
yes,
I know this is kind of going a little further into the future.
Well, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah. But, I got. That's why I said that to Hulk at the Hall of Fame. I was like, "Thank you for letting me crack in the head with the chair." Like I got a whole. Like I left WWE. Like my last match there was in the main event.
That's amazing, man.
Main event and house shows on the way out.
But over the course of your run, I mean, your career, your run, I mean, these two things. I mean, DX was obviously off the charts, man, and no one had seen anything like that as far as the heat there. But the NWO run that you had, I mean, when you look back at it. I mean, it had to be looked upon, I believe, with very fond memories.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was like you were thrown into the situation, you performed well, you had a lot of heat, you sold a lot of merch. So in your entire scope of your career, I guess NWO has got to rank high. And now look, I mean, now you're in Hall of Fame for both the factions, man.
That's just it. And I was I was texting back and forth with Eric the other day about something, and I told him, I said, people complain, and I know at the time I complained about being fired by FedEx. I said, but Eric, I would have been I said, I'm glad you didn't fly me all the way to Atlanta and fire me, because I'd have been really pissed then, way more pissed than getting to FedEx.
Oh yeah.
And Eric says to me, he goes, I'm glad I didn't fly you in to Atlanta to fire you either, because I would have changed my mind, and then you never would have got the DX run.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and he's telling the truth, man.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
He would have changed his mind.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason. Of course, I mean, doing it by FedEx is a lot easier than bringing somebody in and looking them eye to eye and saying you're gone.
So, Eric, thank you for these.
There you go.
I owe you for both of these.
There you go.
Thank you.
Well,
and John, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. And anytime you need me here, I've been more than happy to do it. I mean, you've been on my podcast and my shows. Yeah. I mean, you were when I got back into wrestling, I mean, because a lot of people thought I died or whatever.
I did too, man.
I was just gone. Changed my name, got out. But you embraced me in a way right from the beginning when I came back. And I was like, and you told me some things that how important our relationship was back in the early 90s. And that really warmed my heart, man, because, you don't know how you impact somebody's life. And you may not ever know, but the fact that you told me about that, I mean, that was just, that was incredible of you to do that.
It was so huge for me. I told you already. And I remember I tweeted that picture, Instagram, that big, 11x17 cardboard thing. I printed at Kinko's.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I sold them for $5 that year. You gave me a table.
You were a well-kept secret back then.
Oh, man.
The hardcore fans knew it, and everyone, knew how good you were, but you didn't get that break yet. But I was always happy to have you on the radio show back then and the convention. And man, I am so happy for you and proud of you and everything that you've done and the way you've turned your life around. And man, it's like the best is yet to come for you, my friend.
I think so. I think that's true, man. And for you.
I hope so. It's a lot of fun this time. I don't have the anxiety I did years ago. And the book is doing well. Matt Memories is out now. And if anyone wants an autographed copy of it, just got to send me an email or go to my website is up finally, mattmemories.com. I finally put it up this week after working on it for a year almost. So you can buy the book directly from the website. And hey, listen, this is a great opportunity to talk to you about that because NWO always fascinated me and your involvement and everything that you've done in your career. I mean, you're just you're a legend to me, and I'm happy to say a dear friend.
Thank you so much, John. I feel the same about you, man.
It's good to see you.
Welcome to the first installment of This Week in WWE. I am your guest host this week for the game show segment. It's me, Nick Hausman, and right now I'm going to introduce you to these competitors for our first ever edition of This Week in WWE. First, coming onto the show right now, he is a two-time Hall of Famer, and he is the host of this show. It's Sean, X-Pac Waltman. Sean, hey, dude, welcome to the game show.
Thank you for having me, Nick. It's good to be here.
Oh, my goodness gracious, Sean. Wow, thank you so much for showing up. And your competitor right now coming to the show, he is a new contributor for Pro Wrestling for Life's YouTube channel and other social media pages. He is also a proud member of the Pro Wrestling for Life Patreon page. It is Marsh. Marsh, welcome to the game show.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Marsh.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. I'm not a Hall of Famer, so I hope hope that's not part of the thing.
I have two. You can borrow one of mine.
Oh, sure. Well, Marsh, I want to thank you very much for coming on a plane today. Yes, Sean found out the work you're going to be doing for the show. Marsh is going to be creating great graphics and videos and clips and putting out stuff on social media. He's a real wizard at this stuff. And Sean said, I got to test this guy, right? It's the first time you guys are meeting. He wants to push you to your limits. Nick, you host the trivia show this week. So right now, Marsh, this is the first time we've ever met Sean, and you're going to be in competition with him. You have to try to beat him in this show. Are you ready for that, Marsh?
I'm no jobber.
Marsh, I appreciate all the work you're going to be doing for us, but I am not going to take it easy on you right now.
Well,
sorry. Got to pay my dues somehow, I suppose.
Well, like I said, this week's game is called This Week in WWE. So in this game, I'm going to read you guys each a question regarding something that happened this past week in the world of the WWE. Now, whoever gets the most questions right is going to win the game when I decide the game is over. And so to decide who goes first this week, what I want you to do is I want you to go find something you can draw with, because the first person to show me a stick figure pro wrestler is going to be the person who gets the first question. And look at both of them. Have pens, have paper. Marsh is getting right to work here. Sean's still struggling to put paper down. All I do is a stick figure pro wrestler on my screen right now. I feel like Marsh is ahead of Sean at this point. He's very focused. Sean is wait, Sean, that's just a person. I can't tell that's a wrestler. And what is Marsh doing here? Marsh is actually. What is Marsh? Did you just draw that, or did you draw that over time?
I was working on that earlier today.
I thought that was a Rorschach test or something at first.
It's
Sean, but Marsh's was much more accurately someone that looked like a pro wrestler, and his was very good. So
okay,
so Marsh
you
won.
win, Marsh.
She's for NXT UK.
Marsh, let's get to your question here. First question, Marsh. This past Friday on SmackDown, who became the #1 contender to Roman Reigns' Universal Championship?
That would be Cesaro.
That is correct. That is 1 point for Marsh. Did you know that, Sean?
It would have been one of my guesses.
Okay. All right. Well, Sean,
I couldn't remember immediately how he got #1 contender, but I was like, but he's got the match coming up, so it's got to be him, right? Then I remembered he beat Seth Rollins.
Thank you. Yes. So, Sean, question 2. True or false? T-Bar and Mace appeared on Monday Night Raw.
False.
That is false. Yes, they did not appear on Monday Night Raw. We actually don't know where T-Bar and Mace are right now, so that's one apiece.
Okay.
We're 1-1. All right, back to you, Marsh. Which former female WWE superstar ran her second vignette this past week announcing her return to the company?
Eva Marie.
That is correct. That is
Oh yeah.
one.
The evolution is coming.
Man, the evolution. You like that?
Hey, she's like Sumerian Records has a show. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Paradise City. It's kind of like a heavy metal. She's in that actually. There's a lot anyways. I don't want to get up into the weeds on that, but
Yeah,
she was doing other things.
Okay. Well, all right. Eva Marie back in the room. All right. Well, back to you, Sean. Last week on NXT, 3 men stepped up to Karrion Kross, making their case to be the number 1 contender for the NXT Championship. Can you name all 3 men that confronted Kross in the ring?
Kyle O'Reilly,
That is 1.
Finn Balor,
That is 2.
and Johnny Ballsack.
Oh, it was not Johnny Ballsack.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure Johnny Ballsack is not an active NXT competitor.
Oh,
Maybe
all
retired.
right.
Marsh,
But
do you try to steal this one? Do you know who the 3rd man was in the ring?
it could be his nickname around the PC could be Johnny Ballsack, but I believe it's Johnny Gargano.
I think it was actually Pete Dunne. I don't think it was. So neither of you, I don't think get a point unless I was wrong. So,
Pete Dunne came out after Pete Dunne came out. Gargano and Austin Theory jumped Karrion Kross.
That is
did they?
that is correct. Set up a match between Kross and Theory.
Theory this week.
Yeah.
For the record, I am not calling Johnny Gargano Johnny Ballsack. That was not where I was going with that.
I appreciate the
I
clarity.
just couldn't remember who the fuck the 3rd guy was.
Okay, so I think we're tied. Or no, wait, I think you're up 2-1 here, Marsh. So let's see here. We got 2. Yeah, 2-1. You are winning. So Marsh, let's see if you can take an even further lead here. Who was announced as the next guest on Stone Cold Steve or for Stone Cold Steve Austin's Broken Skull session?
Oh my god!
I know. This one's a little harder.
I feel like a lot of them get blown up, and I feel like this is when it slid through. I have no idea.
Sean, do you think you can steal this? Do you know who Steve's next guest is?
Can you give us a hint?
Man, if I give a hint, I feel like I'm going to give it away.
Be too easy to get it.
I'll put it this way. They were mentioned in Molly Holly's interview with you.
Oh, shit.
I know.
I don't know, man. Yeah, no.
The correct answer was Charles Wright. The Godfather is going to be.
Oh,
kidding.
really?
Yeah, he's going to be Steve Austin's next Broken Skull Sessions guest.
Oh, wow.
That should be good.
All right. Well,
Nice.
still 2-1 in favor of Marsh. That means, Sean, you have a chance to tie it up here. Now, this one made a lot of news coming out of Monday Night Raw. Which superstar fell badly on Raw, had to have their match ended abruptly? Do you know?
Who, me? Do I know?
Yeah, do you know?
Umberto Carrillo.
There we go. We are tied 2 apiece. We are back in it. Well, Marsh, maybe you know this one. Which 2 superstars filmed the 3rd match in their best of 3 for main event this past Monday before Raw?
Ricochet and Ali, was it not?
That is correct. That is correct. We have.
I knew that.
Okay. Well, Sean, I'm going to ask you a follow-up main event question. What female WWE superstar made their return to the ring during those same main event tapings?
Oh. Asuka?
No. Asuka's been on TV for a
That
while.
was a guess, man.
It was Nikki Cross.
Nikki. Oh, wow, really?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'm a big Nikki.
Good.
I'm a
Guessing
fan
Marsh
of
did
Nikki
not know
Cross.
that one. Guessing Marsh did not know that one.
No.
All right. Well, then we're gonna go. I think it is now on to back to Marsh here, where I believe Marsh, you're winning 3-2 still. So this will give you a chance to kind of take it over the top. Can you name the 2 men that accompanied Jinder Mahal to the ring now on Monday Night Raw?
Shanky,
That is one. Shanky is one.
and oh my god, I want to say his first name's Tamir, but I'm gonna mess it up, and I don't know his name.
Yeah, Sean, do you know the other person's name?
Sarov?
I'm sorry, it's Veer. You're so close, Mark. So close. All right. Sean, back to you. Let's see if we can tie it up. Which WWE Hall of Famer returned to SmackDown this Friday and got Sami Zayn to dance with them?
I don't know.
Oh, all right. Well, Marsh, do you know?
Teddy Long, playa.
Oh,
Right.
wow, really?
That is
Okay.
right. That
Yeah.
is right. Wow. All right. Well, and you know what? I think that Marsh has this 4-2. I'm going to ask you one more to just kind of put the nail in the coffin. I think you might know this one, Marsh. True or false? SmackDown had more than 2 million viewers on Friday night.
That was true.
That is true. Actually,
Yeah, they were 2-1, wasn't it?
viewership since January on Friday night. So
Wasn't it the number one show on cable that night?
it was. Raw was
Yeah.
number one on Monday, AEW was number one on Wednesday, and SmackDown was number one on Friday. So it was a very good week for pro wrestling last week.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
So,
Awesome.
does that mean I lost?
That means Sean lost. That means for the first time competing on the show, Marsh came in and said he's not a jobber, and he's correct because he beat Sean. So congratulations, Marsh. Your prize is you're going to get to spend a lot more time with Sean in the future helping with this project. So congratulations on that. Where do you want to send people to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things, Marsh?
You can find me on Twitter at RefMarsh, Instagram MarshRef. All of my links and stuff is at wrestlingontherocks.com, though. I do my own little hangout a couple times a week.
Cool.
All right.
Cool. Hey, man. I feel like I slipped on a banana peel and got schoolboyed for like a quick 3 count.
I mean, it's the underdog story of the year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So congratulations on a hard-fought battle, Marsh.
Thank you so much. It takes 2 to tango, and if it weren't for you, you made me look like $1 million out there.
Thank you. Are you gonna give me? You know, we used to give like an enhancement guy, like if they did a really good job for us. Kurt Hennig taught me this. You throw them like an extra $20 or $50 or something like that. You know, and
That's cool.
And the word gets around, like, hey, if you go out there and you really make this guy look good, he'll give you extra money.
That's
It
awesome.
works, and it's you appreciate it. You know, so you know, I'm waiting for you to give me a little bit extra money on the side. That's it for this week's edition of Pro Wrestling for Life, everybody. I want to thank John Arezzi. I want to thank Marsh for coming on and playing me. And what the hell's the name of that game again?
Week in WWE.
Yeah, This Week in WWE. Thank you, Marsh. It's great to have you on the team. And special thank you to Court Bauer and Jacob Fatu for coming on and talking about MLW and all the great things that they have going on right now. Is there anything you want to add before we go?
No, man. I mean, another great show. I want to thank you guys just for keeping on coming back. You know, it's always nice to get those comments and 5-star ratings over on iTunes. You know, at Pro Wrest for Life over on Twitter. You know, check us out every Tuesday, half hour before at XP for a little bonus live engagement with the fans. But dude, and go become a patron. I don't know, man. Eat a bagel, have fun, enjoy your life. We see that we are at the light at the end of the tunnel now, Sean. Maybe eventually here we'll get to do one of these shows here in person with each other.
Yes, soon. Yeah. Soon, Nick.
Yeah,
soon we'll be able to see all you folks out there as well.
Till then, everybody, thank you all so much for tuning in.